Shannon here with the Got to Go Prepared. A while back, Chris Tanner at PM101 put out a challenge to put together a 5-pound survival kit. So I'm going to show you what I put together in my 5-pound survival kit and put this out here. And I'm using an analog scale instead of a digital scale. Found out my digital scale was changing every time I did it and can be manipulated, and this analog scale cannot be manipulated whatsoever. I actually hung some weights from the weight room on it to make sure it was doing accurate every time. So I'm going to use this scale, and I'm going to try to do this without cutting the film away as best I can, because I want, especially when I'm weighing the bag or putting the contents in and out, so I want you to see what's in it. And I also got a couple other ideas of some various things that I changed in and out, some options. So here we go. This here is a Blackhawk bag. It is it's kind of a water repellent. As soon as I find the name of this, I will put it in the description box somewhere. It folds up into a small bag about this big, which you could stick into a cargo pocket and pull it out and open it into a duffel bag, as you can see here. So I'm gonna weigh it real quick, and while we're still on camera, so excuse me moving the camera around a little bit because I want to keep myself in the bag in frame at all times. I'm going to do this here so you can see it, if I can hold the thing right. You can see it is 5 pounds on the money right there. So keeping with staying in the frame, I'm going to set this off to the side, and I'm going to flip the camera to a little bit different angle, and let's see if we can still see that. Now that might not work. See if we can get the tables in frame, and we'll bring you a little bit closer. I'm going to open up this bag. Great bag. I mean, you could leave this strap off if you didn't want it to save a couple ounces and just use these handles, but I kind of like having the strap on here. It makes it a lot easier to carry. It's got Velcro here. It's got a small zipper on the side, which in this first side zipper, I have a Cliff Bar. This is the white chocolate macadamia nut and has 41 carbs, 9 grams of protein, and 260 calories. Be good breakfast. Also have a Petzl headlamp, and it goes red or white. And I have that in this little side pocket. On the interior, what I have in here, this is an all aluminum, and I did a review on one of these once before. This is the Swedish cook kit. It's a Swedish military cook kit, and it's pretty lightweight. But the reason I chose this is it has a cup with a handle. It also has a container, and what this does is allows me to be able to make a discreet fire to boil water if I need to. This all goes in here. Works like a volcano stove. You feed the wood here. That holds the bottle up, and fire burns it. Now, I've painted this with a high heat stove paint to keep all the gook off of it, so to speak. In addition to that, inside this bottle is a small cork. If I can get it out, I'll get one of them. I have put 3 Gatorade packets in here. There's 3 of those in that. And there's a piece of aluminum foil that I put around the top to help as a windscreen or whatever else I might need. And this closes up real neat. It doesn't weigh a whole lot being aluminum. I also have in here to go with that is a small wooden spoon that it wouldn't even register on the scale. It's a super lightweight, almost like a driftwood, and I cut a little piece of it off. And I put a Mountain House Chili Mac in here. It has 12 grams of protein, 240 calories per serving, and has 2.5 servings. So if it was a survival situation overnight, I got a good healthy dinner, keep me good and full, and breakfast the next morning to try to walk out. And that's why I chose this. And this is freeze dried and doesn't weigh very much at all. I also have in here for water is my Sawyer Mini. Comes with a small bag and a larger bag, and I have them rolled up and rubber band together so I can get water in there. In addition to that, I have put 4 tablets to purify water as well as a backup. That way I can filter water on the go, and immediately if I'm in a camp situation and can get to the water, or if I'm on the move and found some water in my container, I could drop the tablets and have it being sterilized while I'm on the move. I have that. Also, for cover and sleeping, and sleeping so important, and I may touch on it and do another video on it. Getting a good night's sleep. If you don't sleep well and it's miserable all night, you're not going to be in a good situation if it is a survival or an emergency situation. I've put in here the SOL Escape Bivy. Now, this is the OD green one. I liked it. It's reflective. Haven't slept in this one yet, but I've talked to some guys who have, and have slept pretty comfortable in it at 30 degrees with just this. So if you, hopefully in the winter like this, if you're like me, I don't leave the house without a jacket and gloves and a hat stuffed in a jacket pocket, and I usually don't leave without a base layer on. If it's going to be really, really cold, I look ahead at the weather like a lot of you guys do, and I will check if it's going to be really, really cold. I'm going to stick a base layer on or have it with me in the car in the winter like this. So this in here to keep me warm as far as cover. In addition to cover, I have a shemagh in here. A lot of different things. All you guys know what you can do with this. You can use it to make char cloth. You can use it in a first aid situation. Head cover, a veil, a lot of different things you can use that for. Also, keeping in the scene of cover and shelter, I have the UST or UT. It's a base tube tent 1.0. Now, I took out the stakes in this. This comes with a, if you haven't seen this fully out, I think I did a review on this before. I'll make sure it's still up and put it up, or I'll do another one on it. Where I'm planning on doing another one where I put it in every configuration, as you can see. You can use it as a tent, a tube tent, wrap it around you, sun cover, a lot of different things you can set this tube tent up with. I took the stakes out; they were too heavy. I can make stakes with sticks. That's not a problem. Find a green tree and make my own stakes, or find some ultra light ones. But since I'm right at 5 pounds, I'll use some wood and use my own skills in the woods to make my own stakes there. So with this combined with this and my own skill set, I can stay pretty warm. And if I have a contained fire in my Swedish mess kit, fire kit there, I can keep a fire closer to me because it'll be contained and create a little bit more heat. I did keep, it's out of the package, but what's in this little pack that goes with that is the ropes that are adjustable. I kept those in there. It didn't weigh a whole lot. There wasn't nothing else I could think of that I really would have to have. I just took the stakes out. I do have other cordage in here. All of us keep things on our body. I mean, if you've watched my previous videos, you know I keep a watch. I can find direction. A skill set that I have, I can find direction and navigate without an actual compass. An actual compass that makes it a lot easier, but I can do it without it if I had to. So I did not add a compass in here, especially if it's just a 1 or 2 or 3 day emergency situation. I should know roughly where I'm at when I get stuck and be able to find my direction out of where I'm at pretty easily without a compass. But you got to pack these bags to your own skill set. In addition to that, I have a saw in here. Now this is one I picked up at Walmart. It's small. I have my other saws that are way better than my bigger kits. This is the Gorilla Gear saw, and I just got some, it's got a piece of cordage wrapped on it as well. I always do that. But it looks a lot like the, I'm trying to think of the other one I have that's red and black that I love so much. But this is the, looks a lot like it, but a little bit smaller. I've put this one through some tests out there. I haven't done a full review on it. I've messed with it and like it in a small, lightweight kit. Does very well. Usually you'll find this saw at Walmart in the during bow season. They'll have these little saws hanging up for the guys that are bow hunting. So they get up in a tree stand and need to cut a limb out of the way. It's small and compact. But I have in there processed wood. In addition to that, I have a knife. And there was a couple options I could go on a knife, and I chose this Condor Nesmic. It's a good fixed blade, good handle. It's very sharp. I've got it pretty sharp. I can shave with it almost. But if I need to split some small wood for kindling, once I saw it down, I felt like this was good enough for a few days. A lot of the mountain men and people in history that you read, this a lot of times was the biggest knife they had. Now they may have had an axe as well. Some did, some didn't. But this right here was about it. I haven't done a full review on this knife, but this is the Condor Nesmic high carbon steel blade. I've tried to figure out why this bump is here, and all I can figure is if for scraping or small cutting tasks you'd have a little more meat and a little weight if you're batoning wood with it. But it's got a nice round belly, good curve for skinning, so any task you need. And you can see the comparison to my hand, and it comes with a nice leather sheath, and of course I put a piece of cordage around it so I could put it on my waist, or if I had a larger knife with me I could just throw it over my neck and use it as a neck knife. This is the fixed blade that I chose to put in here. Usually in my pockets, again, I have other things on me. I'm not going to be in an emergency situation and be naked and afraid. I just don't know how that happens. But I keep a folder in my pocket and my bracelet with my ferrocerium rod here. But I did put a extra ferrocerium rod in here, a larger one, because if you're in a situation where it's cold out, fire is important. And this is the Coghlan's fire steel there. That is also in here. Also, I have a small little fire emergency kit here that will go hand in hand with the other bag you have. And in this baggie, what I have put in this bag is a waterproof match case, and in this match case is the UTC stormproof matches, and I just shoved some of the shorter ones in there, so they are waterproof and will burn for a long time. Also in this kit you can see is the striker, a little tube of Vaseline for the lips, but it's pure Vaseline, and some cotton balls. So good tinder, but also lip care in there as well, and the cotton balls could also be used in the first aid situation as a bandage, which will go hand in hand with the other items I put in here, which in this little baggie, if you're out 3 days, and I ain't seen anybody put this in there yet, but I put a couple packs of flushable wet wipes by Equate for hygiene, and a small tight roll of the camp toilet paper. If it's snowy or it's really cold and wet, you're not going to find any good leaves, so the toilet paper can be used as tinder and to take care of other business. Also in there, a couple packs of, I put a couple alcohol swabs in there for cleaning a small wound. They're also a good fire starter. Also a small packet of antibiotic ointment, a small pack of ibuprofen, and a small aspirin pack. And that is all in this small Ziploc right here. And I'm going to get this out and put this to the side. If it's just a 2 or 3 day situation, hopefully, I mean, I may need the TP. Hopefully I won't need the other items. always be careful in your emergency situation. The worst thing you can do is get hurt or get injured. So if you get a hot spot on your foot, you need to slow down a little bit. You don't want blisters that can slow you down, which would lead me into the next thing I bought is a very small roll of duct tape, and shoved inside there is a piece of steel wool, which is also another bit of tinder. Duct tape can be used as bandages. It can help you build a shelter. It can patch clothing or gear. It can also be put on the back of your feet or toes for hot spots to keep you moving. But I also have this little small Scotch duct tape in here as well that'll tie into that. And that is it. That all equaled up to exactly 5 pounds, and I monkeyed with it back and forth to try to get it right where I wanted it was with those things. Some of the things that I was going to do as an alternate that I have back here is I was going to take out the Swiss kit that has the cup and the bottle and the fire thing and replace it with this bottle that I got at Aldi that I did in a review before. And inside this bottle it has some Gatorades, only 2 Gatorades, but I also have a bar in it, which I would replace the Cliff Bar and the mess kit for this bottle, and so I could in return change out and maybe put my charade, and I always, for this is my favorite one, and I always forget, the SCHF 35, which I've done a review on before. You can see it's a bit dirty. I would replace items to get the weight down so I could have this. Of course, I would take the fire steel out as well because this has a fire steel, and of course this is wrapped with cordage. And I designed this sheath to where this could clip onto my belt easily, or I could have a secure dangler, which have you. So I would replace a couple items there to get a bigger knife. I would probably take out the Nesmic here, the fire steel, and the mess kit, and the Cliff Bar, and replace it with the black bottle with the big bar Gatorade and this knife, and still get my weight down. Another option for a blade was to replace the saw and the Nesmic for a Gerber multi-tool, which I haven't done a review on this, and a custom-made knife that I had when I used to do reenactments. I used to do living history reenactments from French and Indian War period. So this is a neck knife that and a sheath that I made out of leather with deer hair, and this is a custom-made knife a guy made for me. It's a neck knife, and this is a carbon steel. It's not as thick a blade, but I mean it's a sharp little guy, and it'll make a spark, and it's a good size blade. And I can't remember his name, but if you can see that on his initials are on that, DMP. I apologize if he ever watches this. I forgot his name, but he does some great work on this. It's not shiny and pretty, but it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be, back then those guys used their blades. But I was going to swap it and do that. That was another alternative idea. And of course the Gerber multi-tool here has a small blade on it and has a saw, so I would really be able to use that instead of this. It's a smaller saw, but hopefully in a quick emergency situation I might not need that. But it was an idea. I just decided to go with the bigger saw in this kit as well. And another, since I got cordage wrapped on a lot of different things, I left out my 550 cord bundle that I have here on the weight. I do have it on my wrist at all times, and the other cordage that was just randomly in the bag to make my shelter. So I didn't go with that. Another alternative for food was a Supreme protein bar and some ramen noodles. I was thinking this could be dinner and this could be for my walk out of where I'm at the next morning. But I decided to go with, of course, what I had here. You've got to know your skills. There's not a lot of first aid medication things in there. Hopefully in a few day situation I'll be okay. Any medication you may need for your own personal health, you need to have that with you at all times anyway. Other than that, it's good to always have the skill of knowing medicinal plants that you can find in all 4 seasons, depending on where you're at. I'm pretty good with the spring, summer, and fall ones. The winter ones are a little more difficult, especially if they're buried in snow. But I can find a few of them with some different trees and some plants that I could get under the snow and find that should still be there. So I didn't go heavy on medication or anything. Just ibuprofen and the aspirin there and a little alcohol wipe to get me by. But hey, that's what's in my kit. 5-pound challenge there. My channel here is a lot smaller than Chris's. When I got started, Chris did give me a little help with some email conversation we had getting it up and going. And here at Got to Go Prepared, we are still growing. So I hope you will hit like, share, and subscribe. And I'll figure out how to get this in the feed with the rest of the 5-pound kits. So we can let everybody look at all the different ones that are out there. And hopefully everybody can learn from one another. Anyway, remember, you got to go prepared because you just never know.